COVID-19 hit us all very unexpectedly. Nobody was really prepared for a pandemic of such a global scale. In Luxembourg, we were really hit by it on March 12, 2020, when the first patient inside our hospital was infected. A crisis management team was put into place, and very quickly we started to deal with that completely new situation. One of the main concerns of the crisis team was the upcoming shortage of PPEs. Even if at the beginning we had enough, we knew that the whole world was looking for PPEs. The demand was skyrocketing, and very soon it was obvious that not enough material would be at our disposition anymore. Prices for equipments like masks just went through the ceiling. They had become a very, very scarce resource that everybody wanted. One of the main problems at the beginning was that China was at the epicenter of the pandemic and in large parts shut down, meaning that all the production facilities where PPEs for the world are produced were shut down, or their capacities were massively reduced. That's when we had the idea to assess whether a local production of protective gear with DuPont Tyvek material was possible.
Through our foundation, together with Dr. Wilmes, we approached a local designer and manufacturer of clothes by the name of Eva Ferranti. And we basically asked the question whether she could manufacture medical gowns for us.
Dr. Wilmes is a friend of ours. He's been a client for us for like 10 years. He's become a friend. So at the beginning of the COVID crisis, he gave me a ring and said, now that you're not producing suits, could you produce something else? And we said yes. We started to put in place 2 new production lines in the evening. We needed different machines. We went and fetched those machines from the schools in Luxembourg, and within a week we were ready. Early on we approached DuPont, and they bent over backwards to supply us with Tyvek, which is the raw material we needed to produce the protective garments.
When Dr. Wilmes called DuPont, we knew already that the situation in the hospital in Luxembourg was dramatic, so we immediately decided to give the highest priority to these initiatives. We knew that this was the best way to shortcut the long production pipeline and to have the PPE ready for the healthcare worker in the shortest possible amount of time. Our role into the initiative was to produce the material and deliver enough to the workshop of Eva Ferranti.
Basically, we produced whatever the hospitals asked us to produce, as long as we could do it with Tyvek. It started with coveralls, but transpired that in the end they needed gowns more urgently, so we did a lot of gowns.
Donc, est-ce que vous avez produit plusieurs tailles de tablier?
Oui, au départ on avait une seule,
Oui.
et puis à la demande des hôpitaux on en a fait une plus petite et une plus grande.
We were used to producing 10-20 suits a week, and at this point we were producing something like 500 garments a day.
We did all we could to make sure we had enough protective equipment, because not having enough protective equipment would mean that eventually our healthcare workers and doctors would fall ill, and then we would not only have a shortage in PPEs, but also a shortage in healthcare workers and doctors, meaning then not enough people to treat the patients anymore.
In times of crisis, I think it's very important that everybody who can play a role plays that role.
One of the key factors that made this operation such a success was the fact that so many people from different horizons, from different sectors with different skills, quickly put their heads together and were driven by the only goal to provide our healthcare workers and doctors in a very short amount of time with the best protective gear possible.